Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Folks, today is Friday, June 12, 2026, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live with the Black Star Network. I'm live here in Memphis, Tennessee. Earlier today, I gave a Juneteenth speech, and I'm standing at I Am a Man Plaza that, of course, honors the 1,300 black sanitation workers who went on strike in 1968. I'll show you this memorial to them, but also the devastation of Claiborne Temple, the historic church that was gutted in a fire set by an arsonist a year ago. Also, on today's show, a North Carolina man is suing a deputy sheriff for $20 million for beating him in a courthouse. We'll talk to his attorney. A data center on the campus of Fisk University is causing lots of controversy. We'll talk to Tennessee State Representative Justin Jones. Also, I will hear from State Representative Justin Pearson, who's running for U.S. Congress. I caught up with him at the Juneteenth event today as well. Donald Trump's name is off of the Kennedy Center in D.C. A judge refused to listen to the Department of Justice and their protests in that. And also, Trump's FBI is targeting an Ohio voting group. We'll tell you about their offices being raided. It is time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the fine. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Folks, I'm live here in Memphis, Tennessee at the I Am a Man Plaza in the city of Memphis, dedicated on April 5th, 2018. We were here for the 50th anniversary for the commemoration of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King's assassination at the Lorraine Motel. Now, I'll step aside here, and so a little bit later, I literally walked around this whole plaza to give you a sense of what it's all about. That wall over there honors the 1,300 black men who were part of the sanitation strike in 1968 after two of their workers were killed trying to avoid a massive storm that came in. And so this plaza was dedicated, again, April 5th, 2018. We live streamed that whole event. And so came here and gave us Juneteenth speech earlier today. Was going to do the show from the National Civil Rights Museum, formerly Lorraine Motel. Then I said, wait a minute, let's go do it from the I Am a Man Plaza. And so looking forward to doing that. Also, after this show, we're going to also restream an interview that I did with Bill Lucy. Bill Lucy passed away last year. He was an influential labor leader, and he was the one sent from Washington, D.C. to help the sanitation workers here to get organized and mobilized. And so we'll have that for you. In addition, I'll show you the devastation of Claiborne Temple that's right here. This is where many of those meetings took place, where the marches took place. An arsonist last year burned this church down. That person has not been arrested, and it completely destroyed this church. Nothing left on the inside. You'll be able to see it for yourself, and so it's just extremely sad what took place here. But let's talk about this case out of North Carolina. We showed you this video here. Black man in a courthouse, just simply walking out. All of a sudden, he gets attacked by this officer in the court. Yeah, look at this video here. And it's just absolutely crazy. This is a black truck driver. Said he was assaulted in the Northampton courthouse. Don Long II, again, visibly walking through a doorway, wiping his eyes. First of all, he was attacked. He got pepper sprayed. The deputy, Gregory Colson, he follows him on the video. Then, of course, all of a sudden they began to swing at each other. After Colson appears to take the first swing, Long hits him back. The two exchange brief blows. But once the fight goes around a corner, Long has the upper hand, striking Colson more than once. Harry Daniels represents Don Long. He joins us right now. Harry, glad to have you here. What the hell was this all about? What was your client in the courthouse for, and how all of a sudden does he get attacked?
Hey, thanks, Roland, for having me. That's what we're trying to figure out. You know, he was in a courthouse. He had a court date. He had summons to come to court that day. What happened, Roland, is that he had his cell phone, and he was told by other deputies that he needed to take his cell phone back to the car. And once he took his phone back to the car, came back through security, he realized he was running late to court. He rushed to the courtroom to see the judge that's on the bench calling the calendar. And anybody knows if you're not in court, when the judge calls the calendar, you could be subjected to a bench warrant or failure to appear. And Dunn didn't want to get a bench warrant. So he politely tried to ask the deputy, can he come in? Deputy told him, back his, up, gave him some explicits, and Dunn backed up. Subsequently, he saw two other people being let in the courtroom, and Dunn, he proceeded to see, hey, maybe he'll let me in the courtroom now. He goes back up to the deputy. The deputy then comes out, and I know you mentioned in your opening intro that the deputy punched him outside first. Outside was the first punch. That's not the first punch. He's actually shoved and punched Dunn inside that vestibule that you don't see on camera. Then he took out his OC pepper spray and sprayed Dunn directly in his eyes. That's why you see Dunn, he's outside the hallway. When he exits the vestibule, he's rubbing his eyes. Then the officer come back behind him, attempts to strike him. Dunn retaliates, uses force, and repels the attack. We talked to some people today that was in the courthouse that day. They said that the pepper spray on Dunn was so much they had to clear the courthouse and could not use the courtroom and could not use it for the rest of the day. Dunn was taken down to the holding cell where he was subsequently treated by EMS, taken to the hospital, and released. He was in fact detained, arrested, but once they got a chance to look at the video, the authorities there, and realized what happened. He was not the first aggressor. He was released. He went back over to the sheriff's office and talked to the sheriff after the fact. To my understanding, Deputy Colson was resigned during the investigation. It is an ongoing criminal investigation. Dunn Long has not been charged with any crime related to this incident. But the sad thing about it, Roland, is that Dunn was a commercial truck driver who actually had his own truck, commercial truck driver, to my understanding. And he passed all the DOT certification. In fact, he enjoyed 2013 vision with both eyes, 2021 and 2025, the others, as late as 2025. After this incident, due to the damage to his eyes, he now has 20/80 vision. He has permanent scarring in his eyes where he's scheduled to have surgery. And in fact, this past Monday, he was supposed to have surgery, but the scarring from the metal from the pepper spray was so bad that he could not even have surgery. This is a father of 4 beautiful wife, children. The breadwinner of his family. Now left and try to figure out what's next. He has permanent damage and vision impairment due to this rogue deputy who assaulted him, all because he just tried to enter the courtroom.
I mean, that's just absolutely insane. That it just goes to this. And did the judge or any other judges, have they said anything regarding this officer's behavior?
No, it hasn't made its way through in front of any judicial officer. We do know that Don petitioned the state of North Carolina for the release of the video, and the sheriff did not oppose. in Northampton County, and Dunn was able to get the video without any restrictions whatsoever. That's how you were able to see the video. You remember how hard it was in North Carolina, not too far from Elizabeth City, where we had to fight to try to get the video of Andrew Brown and still haven't received it. So, the judge released the video. The transparency, we have seen exactly what happened. Maybe other parts of the video, but for the most part, we saw all the videos related to Dunn when Dunn was there. But like I said, this is a very, very tragic story. And no, he's not dead, thank God. But this man, a father of 4, young man in his late 30s, is now visually impaired due to what this officer did. And this officer should have been charged immediately. He should have been not able to resign. He should be terminated and should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, because if it's you or anybody else that assaulted a person, unprovoked assault, we will be charged facing felony charges. It doesn't matter if we have bad shit or star. We say that all the time. This is a case that we hope that we can get some redress for Dunn, because his livelihood has simply been stripped away from him in a manner that nobody would ever think should happen. You go to court, and you get assaulted. You go to court, you get punched in the face, you get pepper sprayed, you get attacked, all because you're trying to fulfill the judicial order, the summons to come to court. It never should happen. Never should happen, Roland.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane. All right, Harry Daniels, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Roland. Take care.
All right, folks, I want to bring in my panel right now. Glad to have them here on this Friday. Matt Manning, civil rights attorney out of Corpus Christi. We have Dr. Avis Jones-DeWeaver, host of the Fearless Politics podcast, National Harbor, Maryland. Michael Imhotep, host African History Network show out of Detroit. Matt, I've seen some crazy stuff. But to see someone in the sheriff's office in a courthouse attack a man in a hallway, use pepper spray, what the hell?
And trying to punch him from behind, too, right? Because usually you hear officers claim they've got to defend themselves, assailant was coming at them, what have you. But you see this video, he was trying to sucker punch him from behind, and clearly Mr. Long defended himself and gave him the skitty paps, as Tony Baker might say, that he deserved, and was completely within his rights in defending himself. But that's what really struck me here is, one, I mean, the use of the pepper spray in that confined area. Most of the time, they don't want to use pepper spray in a confined area unless it's really necessary because of how it, disperses. So first he's using it there, but then when he swings on him, he's swinging on him from behind. So, he resigned. I would be really interested in knowing what the internal investigation found here. Obviously, resignation was appropriate, but he must have seen he was on the chopping block, because this is just purely indefensible. What Harry didn't mention that I think is important and I'm interested in is whether the sheriff's office is going to indemnify, which means pay for the defense and the judgment of that officer, because he's dead to rights on this one. I think the video shows it crystal clear. And I don't know that they have a really strong defense. I don't think a reasonable officer thinks they can punch somebody from behind. So hopefully there will be a swift judgment here for Mr. Long, because it's completely without any defense that I see.
It is just unbelievable, Avis, when these things happen. And it just goes to show you the reality of what it means for black folks in this country, where and now this brother is, loses great eyesight, family impacted, business impacted, because of the sheer arrogance and thuggery of this white deputy sheriff.
Absolutely. And it makes me wonder, it's interesting that according to his attorney, other people were being let back into that courtroom. And for some unknown, odd reason, not only was he not let back in, he was literally attacked. It makes me think about the fact that for 2 decades, the FBI has been sounding the alarm that police departments across the country have been infiltrated with white supremacists. They are drawn to police departments for the weapons training and obviously for the opportunity to commit assault and murders with very little to no accountability. There is absolutely no excuse why this officer is in charge today. None. So in addition to the civil pursuit that's undergone and that's deserved, that's not enough. This officer needs to be charged with assault at minimum, and he needs to pay the price for this both criminally, and the specific locality needs to pay the price civilly.
What's crazy is, Michael, what the hell is taking so long? Yeah, he
Roland,
absolutely should be charged.
Yeah, I agree. He should be charged. It's on video. It's inexcusable. I want to know what was the reason for the pepper spray, but also the officer was clearly wrong to come from behind and sucker punch him. Okay, and to add insult to injury, the officer can't fight. Okay, let's just put that out there too. The officer couldn't fight, and then I think the officer probably, his feelings were hurt because Don Long got the best of him as well. So I'm glad it was caught on video.
Yes, he got the best of him. He got the best of him because he got the best of him because he got sucker punched. Well, guess what? Don't sucker punch somebody, then you won't get your ass whooped.
Right, exactly. And, you know, I'm glad this was caught on video. You know, it's horrible that he has permanent damage to his eyesight as well. But my thing is, okay, so also, yes, charges should be filed against the officer. But, you know, this is just a crazy case. Luckily, this was caught on video, because if it wasn't caught on video, then we know what the narrative would be. They would make Don Long out to be the worst thing in history, and he was high on drugs or something like that. You know, the narrative, like some people tried to paint of George Floyd and blame him for whatever happened to him. So luckily, this is caught on video.
Absolutely crazy. All right, folks, got to go to a break. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network, live in Memphis from the I Am a Man Plaza. Back in a moment. All right, folks, let me tell you about Chapter. Now, if you're on Medicare or about to be, the system is not set up to work for you. Too much fine print, too many plans, and too many people making money off of your confusion. And look, we're used to this. We're no strangers to systems that don't have our best interests at heart. But we don't have to accept it when it comes to Medicare. That's why I'm telling you about Chapter. Their advisors are independent and honest. In fact, they're the only Medicare advisors that compare every plan nationwide. And they're focused on one thing: what works for you. If there's a better plan out there, they'll find it. If you're already in the right one, they'll tell you that too. There are no games. Just last year, people who switched with Chapter saved an average of $1,100. It's 20 minutes and a real person. It's completely free. My parents actually have already called. My mom sent me a text. Folks, give Chapter a call at 724-264-8281, 724-264-8281, and connect with someone you can trust. Folks, these are the kind of services that we need for our audience here at Roland Martin Unfiltered and the Black Star Network. So call Chapter right now, 724-264-8281.
Hey, what's up? It's Sammy Roman.
Hey, it's John Murray, the executive producer of the new Sherry Shepherd Talk Show.
It's me, Sherry Shepherd, and you know what you're watching, Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, the twice-impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief, Donald the Con Trump, his name is no longer on the Kennedy Center. A federal judge refused to allow the Department of Justice to refuse their motion. And his was crazy. If you want to know how nutcase this fool is, they actually filed this emergency motion. And I just want to read what y'all, if you want to see how stupid this man is, if you want to see how ignorant the individuals that work for him is, let me read for you what they submitted to the court. Y'all, this is no lie. I'm reading an actual emergency petition they filed. No one else other than President Trump would be in the position of both rebuilding the building and raising the money for its operation. That's a lie. As an example, President Trump has already raised from Congress $258 million for construction of the new and highly improved Trump Kennedy Center. Y'all, he doesn't raise money from Congress. Congress appropriates, but anyway. But the district court is not even allowing us to properly do that. We ask for the court's reversal on both name and construction, or at least a stay. The district court doesn't want it to close so that complex, high-level construction can be completed, which cannot be done without the building being closed. Therefore, we would also like approval to immediately start spending the money, not only from an aesthetic point of view, but also from a structural and safety standpoint. People entering the building under present conditions will be in serious danger and risk of injury or beyond. Certain areas are already roped off for this reason. The building is also in bad shape and unsightly to look at, a constant source of conversation within the Washington, D.C. area. It is unable to compete with other such venues throughout the United States, but when completed as planned, will be the envy of the world, capitalized, something that everyone, including this court, will be proud of. Contractors have already been selected for the work and will have to be immediately informed that we are not able to utilize their services. Some have already been paid, so this becomes an expensive and unnecessary proposition in and of itself. Why would you already pay them? Okay, it gets more stupid. In December 2025, the Center's board voted overwhelmingly to add President Trump's name to the center in recognition of his personal commitment to rebuild and revitalize the center, which had fallen into a sad state of dangerous disrepair, so it can once again serve as a world-class performing arts center. In this action, however, one of the board's ex officio trustees, Representative Joyce Beatty, Democrat of Ohio, a troublemaking appointment from the beginning of her tenure, ! Sued her fellow trustees of the board, alleging, among other things, that this resolution and its implementation constituted a breach of fiduciary duty under the center's organic legislation. In actuality, it represented a saving of the Kennedy Center, which, if this doesn't happen, would go into financial and structural collapse, something the board recognized in approving the name change. Despite all of this, the district court, however, ruled against the board and granted a permanent injunction requiring the center to revert to its prior name and make all necessary adjustments to its physical signage, website, and more by today, June 12, 2026. Again, millions of dollars is necessary to be raised, and this movement will come to a halt. Yesterday afternoon, the center's board voted to appeal that order and to seek a stay. This court should grant that relief. The equitable factors weigh strongly in favor of a stay. On the one hand, it will cause no harm to politically motivated Representative Beatty. Lord. Avis.
Delusions of grandeur.
You don't need your damn name on something to fix it. You're sitting in the Oval Office. Your job is to do these things. But here's the crazy part, okay? We can't do these things unless his name is on it. Congress has the only authority. The district court rule. Only Congress can change the name. You can't just change the name with some punk-ass resolution.
You can't change the names unilaterally with a resolution. Congress has the power of the purse strings. Quite frankly, I don't believe a damn thing you just read. I do not believe his pretext for doing anything to the Kennedy Center. I believe this is just another vanity project that he wants to put his name all over just about any and everything in Washington, D.C. I'm so disgusted when I drive downtown now, and I see his ugly face on banners on institutions of this nation, his ugly name on the Kennedy Center when it had no business there. He's cluttered Freedom Plaza with Confederate statues. He's put this monstrosity up behind the White House. It's looking like a trailer park back there. The entire way in which he has rednecked the nation's capital is disgusting to me. And he has this narcissistic need to put all of these fake monuments to himself because he knows he doesn't deserve it. He knows once he's out of office, nobody is going to do it. And so he's taking his time when Americans are being crushed under the weight of inflation right now, when he's totally jacked up the situation with the war that he shouldn't have gotten into in the first place, all right? When all of this is going on, his main attention is on all of these vanity projects that do not need to happen at all, and none of which are free. It is just a prime example of him majoring in the minor, but in him doing that, what he's really trying to do is to create all of these wonderful ways in which he believes he can be acknowledged, because the Lord knows once he leaves, ain't nobody gonna give a damn about his ass. In fact, we'll be partying in the streets.
Michael, I'm glad the judge ruled this. But what I was really hoping for was on Inauguration Day 2029, that was a split screen at 12:01 p.m., where the new incoming president, Westmore, or someone else on the Democratic side, would give the order, and it'd be a split screen. You would see the inauguration and them just cutting the rope and seeing that banner shit drop with his damn picture to the ground and taking name off. This man, Avis just said it. He has turned Washington, D.C. into one big-ass trailer park. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, that should go on a T-shirt right there, Avis. Yeah, so I mean, this is Donald Trump. Keep in mind, Donald Trump had no intentions of governing for this second term. He ran to stay out of prison, and this is all about him. Okay, so the people who thought that he was going to save the economy and bring down the cost of goods and things like that, he didn't do that in the first term because he inherited a healthy economy from Obama Biden. So you got conned again. And then don't forget the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool that cost about $14 million. Don't forget that. So at a time where you have consumer sentiment at its lowest point in recent history, rising inflation report just came out, I think 4.3% increase. At a time all this is going on, he has his UFC fight at the White House. He has all these different projects, and he made a name by just slapping his name on different buildings, things of this nature. So this is how he's governing. This is how he's running his administration at the same time. So this is what you expect from somebody who's incompetent and who should have never had the job in the first place. And these are the culture wars. See, Donald Trump. A few weeks ago, Roland, you played that clip from Robert Reich, former labor secretary, and he talked about the traits of an authoritarian. This is one of them. Co-opting pop culture and co-opting those institutions that influence how we think, co-opting the institutions of the arts and entertainment. This is exactly what Trump is doing, trying to put his name on the Kennedy Center. So luckily, this judge ruled the way he did, but this fight continues. This is a sick man. This is a very sick man.
Matt, it's not a lot of people I despise. His ass I despise. I have never... the sheer stupidity of people in this country that voted for this fool, who only cares about himself. He is a degenerate. He is corrupt. He is evil. He is racist. He is sexist. He's an insurrectionist. And you got to just be a petulant ass child where to put your name on a performing arts center that was named after a president was assassinated.
Yeah. Trump and flies I do despise. The more I see Trump, the more I like flies. I'm with you. I mean, everything you listed is right. And I think, Dr. Avis said something that I hadn't heard until I saw Jamel Bowie say this a couple weeks ago. This is exactly right. This is about cementing legacy because nobody's going to be talking about you or caring about you, when you're out of the office. But the only other thing I want to add is that I think this is kind of indicative of what this administration seems to be doing. It's just attacking every little thing, making everything a fight. I mean, there's no safe space or no respect for institutions because everything's being changed. I mean, we've got a UFC fight that's going to be fought on the White House lawn, which is just the most extraordinary trailer park type thing you could be doing. And, you don't put anything past this administration. But I think what they're doing strategically is they're picking a fight about every little thing because it allows us to be scattered in a million different directions and to opine on every little thing that really shouldn't be anything within the purview of the White House or the presidency. I mean, there's some very, very important things going on, i.e. a manufactured war in Iran. And we're sitting here talking about the name on the Kennedy Performing Arts Center, which should never have been changed. But I think some of that is, just part and parcel with fight everything, make everything a battle, and make it look like you're winning every one of those battles, even if that's not demonstrably true.
Yep. Indeed. And he's going to keep throwing his little temper tantrums. Oh, because they took my name off. Oh, pathetic individual. All right, folks, let's talk about what's happening at Fisk University, where the president there announced the $1 billion initiative to modernize the campus, build new facilities. And that included building this $400 million innovation center. They would have a data center on its campus. Yet community members, students, and others have been fighting against it. One of those folks is a Fisk graduate, State Representative Justin Jones, who represents Nashville. He joins us right now. Representative Jones, glad to have you on the show. I was in your city last couple of days. The NFL alumni, they had a charity golf classic, and so I was helping them raise some funds. Today I'm in Memphis. Walk us through here, because the president announced this. So we're talking about a data center. These are being protested all across the country. People are complaining about the noise. They're complaining about the damage to water systems. They're complaining about being so close, how their health is being impacted. What do you know thus far about this proposed data center on the campus of Fisk University?
Definitely, and thank you for amplifying this issue, Brother Roland. Right now, you're standing, not too far away from the largest data center in Tennessee, being in Memphis, which is owned by Elon Musk. And we know that that has brought nothing but pollution and devastation. And now the Fisk administration is proposing to build a 30-megawatt, 70,000 square foot data center in the heart of North Nashville, the heart of the Black community, just across the street from our public housing, right next to the dormitory where our students live, right next to MLK High School. This is a community that has already been victimized by redlining, and now it's going to be victimized again with this proposal by digital redlining. Another source of pollution. North Nashville has some of the highest rates of asthma, respiratory illness, because they forced the interstate through the Black community in the 1960s to break up the Black community, and now they're trying that same tactic with these AI data centers under the guise of innovation. But we know that this is not about innovation, it's about extraction and exploitation of a school and a community that's already being, subjugated to being treated as second class and being underfunded and not invested in. But this is not the type of investment that the community wants. And so you have students, alumni, neighbors, professors speaking out against this proposal by Fisk President Eugenia Clark to bring an AI data center to campus, because HBCU should not house these epicenters of pollution and public health harm to our communities.
All right, so in order to put a data center on the campus, would they have to get the approval of the city council, the state legislature, or could they just simply do it on their own?
Yeah, so there's a permitting process, but we know that the president has been working with the mayor, who says that this is the model of the right type of data center that he will support, because it purports to do no harm, even though we don't know what that means yet. Please show me a data center of this size, an industrial AI data center of this size, anywhere in the country that has not done harm. And so it just seems like a lot of PR and talking points, but the mayor says he supports this. The interesting thing is that there's another proposal in Nashville to build a data center by the zoo. And you have council members and even the mayor saying, we will not support this by the zoo. because of the harm that it will do to the animals and to that area. But we're going to build this type of data center in the black neighborhood and make it make sense to us. And that's what we've been saying, is that if it's not good to be by a zoo, then it's not good to be by our HBCUs. Why would you build this in the heart of our community? If you want to build a data center, go build it over in Green Hills or Williamson County, the wealthy white county. But no, they come to communities that they believe are of least resistance, where they don't think people will fight back and speak out against them. And it's really, to credit, I want to say that it was the students who reached out to me from this university. It was the alumni who reached out saying, we must speak out, because so many of the elected officials have been afraid to say anything about this issue in the Fisk sense. And so, we held a press conference, and we've heard from ever since then from people who said, we didn't know if we could speak out because the president made it seem like this was innovation, that the university wanted this. But the more we've asked questions, we found that professors have been raising concerns. In fact, students sent a letter to the administration because they announced this the week after move-out day, where students left for the summer, and they felt like they've had no voice in the process. Fisk University has turned off the comments on their Instagram because students were complaining and challenging that this is the priority of the university administration. And so what we're seeing is a president who really is siding with corporations, and it has no grounding in the community there. Again, why don't we build these in the wealthy areas of Tennessee? But instead, what we're seeing in these rural white counties in particular, they're passing moratoriums on AI data centers right now in Tennessee. So if it's not good for a white county or a white community, then why would we put it in the heart of the black community in North Nashville?
Have you had any conversations with the president, with the Fisk board chair, members of the board of trustees regarding this proposed data center?
Well, until recently, I was actually the John Lewis Fellow for Policy and Activism at Fisk, and I was teaching a course that was entitled Climate, Colonialism, and Race. And when I had my syllabus, the president, we met, and she asked me in her office if my course would conflict with her plan to build this AI data center, because on my syllabus we talked about environmental racism. We talked about how you cannot talk about environmental justice without talking about racial justice, and where they've put these landfills in our community, looking at where they've put the interstate through black communities, through redlining that has brought up the rate of asthma and respiratory illness. And, as I started talking about the dangers of AI, my course didn't last a week. They canceled my class. My students were already enrolled. We had been starting reading and discussions. And, my office was packed up, and I was told that my fellowship had ended at Fisk. And, I've been silent about that because I love Fisk. And there's so many other fights in Tennessee. But I, just wanted to be clear that that from the beginning, this project has been mired in this type of secrecy and very, not kosher actions by the administration.
Wait, one second here. So I just want to be correct here. You had a John Lewis Fellowship. This is a fellowship named after a Fisk graduate, an activist. The Nashville movement started there in Fisk under Reverend Jim Lawson. Of course, his quote is right here at the base of this I Am a Man monument here at the plaza in Memphis. You meet with the president. You lay out what the class is. And you say she canceled your class, ended the fellowship, and removed you from the office. And look, I had a visiting scholar in residence deal when Van Newkirk was the president there, so I'm quite familiar with the campus. So you're saying that because this may have in conflict with her plans, she completely canceled your fellowship and removed you from the office?
Yeah. So, the games of politics, including in academia, where they say, well, we don't have any more funding for your fellowship in particular. As I'm starting this course, as I have already done this syllabus, the reason I met with the president is I was trying to get funding because I wanted to bring my students to Climate Week in New York, because I think it's important for HBCUs to be present. Vanderbilt sends a delegation. That's why I was meeting with her. And she said, will your course conflict with our plan to build this AI data center? And my fellowship was ended. And, my students had been there. We these are the students who still are emailing me today who brought their concerns about this. And it's all connected is what we were seeing, including current faculty. There's faculty who've tried to share concerns who've been silenced, and it's a pattern that we're seeing that's very unfortunate. Because I remember when you were at Fisk, I think I was a student there at that time. And Fisk has always been a place where we bring in diverse viewpoints where we root everything we do in racial justice. And John Lewis, of all people, who filed the 1992 Environmental Justice Act alongside then Senator Al Gore, was a voice of environmental justice. And so it's just ironic that Fisk is kind of losing its values because, they're saying that we're underfunded, which is a reality of HBCUs across this country. These white government structures have not funded TSU. They're not funding our HBCUs. Our HBCUs are under attack, but we don't sell out the soul of our university to meet our bottom line, because at the end of the day, this AI data center could destroy our university. Who's going to want to live in a place where there's poison and where with noise pollution, water pollution, air pollution? Who's going to want to go to a college like that? And so I'm thinking about the longevity of Fisk, and I know Fisk has survived before. We're not against innovation. We're the university that brought the Negro spirituals to save our university before with the Jubilee Singers. We're a university that has been at the forefront of the Race Relations Institute, but selling out our university to corporate donors and then being secret. This is the other part, Roland. She hasn't even told us what corporation is pledging this $900 million. So is it XAI, like in Memphis, who Elon Musk, who's destroying the community there? She won't give answers to elected officials, nonetheless to students and to alumni. All of it is, we'll let you know as needed. We're not given any details about who these corporate partners are and who's offering this money. But what we know as Fiskites and as people who go to a university committed to social justice is that not all money is good money. And we can't accept money from folks who want to destroy the very institutions that we love and believe in.
So you have to meet with the president. Have you had any communication with the chairman of the Board of the Trustees or any members of the Board of Trustees? Have they weighed in on this proposal from the Fisk president?
No, I mean, everything right now is being done in secret. The Fisk president, I think, is agreeing to meet with some of the members of the Davidson County legislative delegation, but off the record, no media, private meeting, and all PR. Fisk has hired the same PR firm that's doing PR for the Nashville Electric Service because of how horribly they handled our ice storm that left people without power for 6 days in the freezing cold. So they're in damage control right now, and they've hired outsourced their PR to try and do some damage control and narrative shifting. But you have 10,000 people right now who've signed a student-led petition. One of our alumni created a petition against this. 10,000 people have signed in our community. I mean, the more that people hear about this, they start asking questions, because all of this is being done without informing, with no town hall meetings, not letting the people who live in the public housing next door. We were having a press conference. They're like, "Why are you here?" We explained it to them. They said, "Wow, we live here." And no one even told us what's going on. They're building it on the former Fisk football field where the track is now. But there's been no community input. The administration has not been forthright. Certain lawmakers were not invited to the announcement, including me. And the Fisk president has kind of been MIA since the pushback has started, and has been deflecting toward these PR firm. In fact, when we had our press conference, some faculty and staff shared that they got an email from the administration saying to not go anywhere near our press conference and to not speak to the media, but to direct them to the communications department, because we must maintain professionalism and not really allow voices who are opposed to this to be heard on campus. But you had Ray Wimbush, the former director of the Race Relations Institute, and a preeminent scholar of social sciences, who spoke out against this. He's a former Fisk professor and led our Race Relations Institute for a long time. You have a lot of the alumni leadership. We were joined by the Nashville NAACP president, who's also a Fiskite. We were joined by Masters of Public Health alumni who went on to get their Masters of Public Health, and when they left Fisk, telling us about the public health implications. Fiskites are speaking out and challenging this. You have the Register of Deeds, their former council member. And the more people hear about this, the more that the antenna and the alarms go up, that we've seen this before when they forced the interstate through Jefferson Street, through the Black community. And this is kind of what people are harkening back to. And I see in this video here, you have Miss Pugh, who's lived in North Nashville for over 70 years, her whole life, and saying that this is what they do, this gentrification, this redlining, that this is exactly what this is about, and that we must oppose it, and that we need answers from the Fisk administration about who they're partnering with, and what are the ways that they're not going to harm the community, because none of that has been answered to this point.
And for folks who are watching and listening, Dr. Eugenia Clark is the 18th president of Fisk. She took over November 6, 2023. We did reach out to her office, reach out to Fisk. We invited them to come on the show to talk about this proposed plan, this data center, but they declined to do so. And so we're going to keep trying to reach them. Questions from our panel. Avis, you first.
Oh, my goodness. Well, pleasure to meet you this evening. I have to say it's very disappointing to see this occur, especially with regards to the dubious way in which your fellowship was eliminated. You mentioned that you're getting still some communications from students on campus. What is your sense of the student body's perception around this issue? Do you see this as something that they are already opposed to? Do you see this as something that they are organizing around? Or do you see this as something that perhaps they're open to open to the idea that, well, maybe we need this huge endowment? I mean, what are their thoughts around this?
Overwhelmingly, we've heard from the student body. In fact, when we had our press conference, 50 students signed a letter that they wanted us to share with members of the media, because the announcement for this AI data center innovation project was announced right after move out day. So all the students had left for summer internships, went, to go in other parts of the state, went home for their summer. And so many of them were outraged because if this was such a great announcement, they would have done it when the student body could be on campus to be a part of that. But I think that the administration suspected there would be pushback. And so all the students groups, there's been student organizations, sororities, fraternities, campus groups who've released statements that they've shared on social media calling this out. And so overwhelmingly what we're hearing is opposition from students, but they want to make sure that when they do come back in August from summer break, that it's not too late. And that's their biggest concern we're hearing, is that they feel like they're trying to force this through by August. Well, the groundbreaking have already happened. And so students want to make sure their voice is a part of the process. We're trying to ensure that, whatever letter statements they send us, that we forward it directly to the media and to the administration. There should be a forum. There should be an open town hall about this with the student body. Before it was announced, none of that has occurred, and there's been no commitments for that. But at this point, the students are really leading the opposition to this, as well as some of our younger alumni.
Just 1 second here before I go to my next question. Did you guys put it in the email? Y'all told me it was email, and I still don't see it. So apparently, we had reached out to Fisk. We had reached out to Fisk University and had not heard back. But 2 minutes ago, we got this email from Taylor Wilson, who is with Finn Partners. It says, Carol, hello. Thank you for reaching out to Fisk regarding the proposed Innovation Center. As the Ronald Martin Unfiltered podcast continues, first of all, it's Roland Martin. It's not Ronald Martin. But it says, as the Ronald Martin Unfiltered podcast continues to cover digital infrastructure advancements in Memphis, Middle Tennessee, we want to ensure you all have all the right information about Fisk Innovation Center directly from the institution. Below is a statement from Fisk. More information can be found here by visiting Fisk. First of all, Carol, can you please send me when you reach out to them? Because I'm not quite sure why we're getting an email at 6:44 p.m. literally while we're live, which means they had to be watching Representative Jones.
Watching.
Fisk University statement on proposed innovation center. Can y'all pull that up, please? Guided by a, quote, do no harm philosophy, Fisk seeks to develop a center that brings access to technology, digital infrastructure, and training pipelines directly to North Nashville. The press release reads, Fisk University recently announced Quantum Leap, the institution's most robust campus master plan in its 160-year history. If y'all can pull the press release up in control, that'd be great. Designed to strengthen the institution, enhance its infrastructure, and better serve students, faculty, and staff, alumni, and the community. A key part of Quantum Leap is Fisk's proposed Innovation Center. The center is intended to be a 100,000 square foot facility, including a 70,000 square foot technology center and a 30,000 square foot academic space. Fisk University understands and appreciates the community's response to and interest in Quantum Leap and the Innovation Center. Fisk's 160-year legacy in 37208 has always been defined by excellence, and our North Nashville neighbors have played a critical role in that history, but also remain essential to our future. We would never cause harm here. To continue elevating the community Fisk calls home, we seek to advance our Innovation Center alongside our broader Quantum Leap Campus Master Plan, which has been thoughtfully developed over the past 2 years and informed by the voices of students, faculty, alumni, board members, and partners. Fisk is actively extending invitations to community leaders to learn more about Quantum Leap and welcomes open dialogue with anyone who wants to better understand the facts of this project. Let me read that again. They welcome open dialogue with anyone who wants to better understand the facts of this project. Intentionally designed with sustainability, mission, and community at its core, this center aims to leverage digital advancements, expand technology access, and enhance local workforce and educational opportunities. As technology advancements continue to outpace access, institutions like Fisk must embrace this new era of technology to ensure our community doesn't get left behind. Since Quantum Leap's inception, our plan for the Innovation Center has been guided by a do-no-harm philosophy, and we remain fully committed to total transparency, disclosure, and accountability every step of the way. This facility will be designed to operate within the community without burdening our neighbors. That was a non-negotiable design requirement. We deeply value all community feedback as every perspective helps ensure we fulfill the true intent of this mission-aligned plan for our students, faculty, and staff, alumni, and neighbors. Fisk will continue providing the community project updates as more information becomes available. Okay, so before I go to my next question, and before I have you respond to this, Representative Jones, I'm going to go back to this paragraph. Fisk is actively extending invitations to community leaders to learn more about Quantum Leap and welcomes open dialogue, I'm quoting here, with anyone who wants to better understand the facts of this project. Okay, so since Fisk PR folks are watching, so Taylor Wilson at Finn Partners, this is for you as well as Dr. Clark. If you're willing to engage with anyone, then why are you sending me a press release? If you're willing to engage, why not have Dr. Clark or her chosen representative come on this show and actually explain what this is? Again, I'm just reading your own press release where you say you welcome open dialogue with anyone who wants to better understand the facts of this project. This is the only black daily news show in America. I can guarantee you I reach more Fisk graduates than anybody else's show. So if you want to have an open dialogue, and again, I don't have any animus. Like I say, I was a scholar in residence at Fisk. My wife took classes at Fisk. Know many people there. I knew Hazel O'Leary. I was very good friends with Ronaldo Glover, longtime chair of the board there. Knew Nikki Giovanni. So I had lots of people who've gone through Fisk. But don't send me a press release that says you welcome open dialogue if you're not willing to come and have an open conversation. I have more questions. First question that jumps out, Representative Jones, is I read all of this. I read Quantum Leap. I read Innovation Center. But does that include a data center? And if it includes a data center, and then they said they've gone through, do no harm, okay, I would ask Fisk. See, Fisk, I'm giving y'all the questions before y'all even come on. I would ask them, Representative Jones, give me an example of an existing data center that is operational anywhere in America or the world that this is going to be modeled after. I would ask of the company that's doing this, have they developed any other data centers in the heart of a community? To me, these are the questions that are critically important. I would ask, based upon plans that they have put out, what is going to be the environmental impact of this particular data center? To me, those are legitimate questions. So, and not only that, if Fisk said they seek this to conversation with anyone, I say again, have they sat down with you as a state representative for Nashville, and have they walked you through all of these issues that we're talking about?
Not at all. I mean, again, what you read was this type of PR talk that has no answers. It's do no harm. Please explain how you will do no harm in a community that has been victimized by health disparities and public health issues with rising asthma and rising respiratory illness. How will this exacerbate those issues? Do no harm. What corporations are you partnering with? Are you going to be partnering with XAI or these existing firms who we have known have been harmful wherever they've went? They've treated communities like sacrifice zones and left us with the pollution and the extraction and got the profit. Do no harm. Transparency, having a basic meeting, the basic decency to meet with folks prior to making a big announcement, and not just inviting the white mayor of Nashville, but talking to the black folks who live in 37208 in North Nashville. None of these things have been done. And, you know, to the Fisk PR firm who's watching this, you would save a lot of money. Finn Partners is an expensive PR firm. I know that to be true. The Fisk University would spend a lot of money that could be used for scholarships, maybe instead of using on a PR firm, if you just simply came and held a meeting with students in the Fisk way. When I was at Fisk, we would bring up two sides. We would have a Fisk forum, one side opposed, one side against, and talking about, is this in the interest and the values of our university? But because this president did not go to HBCU, because she lives in the whitest county, Williamson County, the wealthiest county, and is not in North Nashville, does not understand our Fisk culture, none of these things are being done. The basic thing I've heard from alumni is that they just want to know these basic answers. Who are we partnering with? You said it's a $900 million investment. Who is that coming from? Where is it coming from? Why won't you name these corporate partners? All of these things are happening, and when you have these type of pattern of behavior, it raises alarm flags and you know, things that make people concerned that this is not in the best interest of our community. Because this is the same process that Elon Musk is following to force his Tesla tunnel through Nashville, that he used to force his AI data center in Memphis. These are the same tactics of folks who've been harmful to our community. Secrecy, lack of transparency, lack of accountability, non-answers. These are the same things we're seeing from folks who've already proven themselves to be harmful when they build these AI data centers and these pollution epicenters in our community. And so to Eugenia Clark, you know, we've reached out. You know, the Fisk president emails awclark@fisk.edu. Please respond to folks who have concerns. Please meet with us, and not off the record or in secret meetings with just behind the room with gatekeepers, but let's meet in the community. Let's meet, you know, publicly to share these answers, because not only my office wants the answers, but the folks who live in North Nashville came saying that they want the answers to these things as well, because they want Fisk to be a good neighbor and to be a partner of the community and not to be a polluter of the community.
And what you just laid out right there, I'm just going to go ahead and say this as well. What you just laid out, and again, I'm going to go to Michael. I'm going to go to Matt with questions. But I just got to say this here. First of all, let me be real clear. My producer, Carol Gant, sent an email to the president of Fisk. Give me 1 second, because I want to get this right, because I believe in giving precise information. On June 11th at 3:10 p.m., an email was sent. Okay. They sent us a statement today at 6:44 p.m. while we're live. Okay, let's just deal with that. 2, in this particular statement, it says Fisk is actively extending invitations to community leaders to learn more about Quantum Leap and welcomes open dialogue with anyone who wants to better understand the facts of this project. Later in the same press release, it says, since Quantum Leap's inception, our plan for the Innovation Center has been guided by a, quote, do no harm philosophy, and we remain fully committed to total transparency, disclosure, and accountability every step of the way. So, if that's the case, if you're extending, and again, I'm helping y'all out, Fisk, because these are the questions I would ask. Okay, so if you're extending invitations to community leaders, who are those community leaders? Who are they? The mayor attended the announcement. Are they city council members, state rep, state senate, nonprofit groups? What will be the impact of your data center on Meharry, which is right next door? Has Meharry been involved in this? That's a medical school. So let's talk about all of that. Again, if you say open and transparent, You say open dialogue, what Representative Jones just said, that means public. That's what open means. It doesn't mean closed. So you have that as well. As an aside, I literally have to ask this question, and I literally mean no disrespect. Fisk, you're at HBCU. You couldn't find a black PR firm to handle your business? You hired a white firm? Pull it up. This is the leadership team of Finn Partners. Celia Jones is the chief marketing officer. Helen Shelton is a chief diversity officer. My goodness, how can we talk about African Americans and economics if our own HBCUs won't hire black PR firms for business, for deals like this here? Okay, since your press release said you'll be open and honest regarding this project, here's my next question. What is the monthly retainer of Finn Partners? See, that's all I'm saying. If you say open, transparent, full disclosure, these are critically important things. And this is a perfect example of how many of our businesses cannot prosper and be able to grow because they're unable to get contracts. And when I look at it, Finn Partners has offices in Abu Dhabi, Atlanta, Bangalore, Bangkok, Beijing, Boston, Chicago, Delhi, Denver, Detroit, Dublin, Frankfurt, Fort Lauderdale, Hong Kong, Honolulu, Jerusalem, Kuala Lumpur, London, Los Angeles, Madison, Wisconsin, Manila, Mumbai, Munich, Nashville, New York, Orange County, Paris, Portland, San Diego, San Francisco, Seattle, Shanghai, Singapore, Washington, D.C., Yangon. I guarantee you their monthly retainer is not $2,000 or $3,000. I can bet you that. All right, Michael, your question.
All right, Representative Jones, thanks for coming on today. So in looking at a piece on this and hearing you talk about the harms that the data center does, has there been any response from Dr. Clark or her team in response to the pollution that it causes, generating noise, creating a lot of heat, but also the demands on water for the community that it would go in, and the fact that the Nashville Zoo, as you said, is fighting a data center being put near them because they say it will create harm for animals. What has been the response, or any response, to them? Have they even acknowledged these types of harms that it could cause this African-American community?
Not at all, and that's precisely, what some of our alumni who are masters of public health, experts in public health, brought up. And we got the same statement after our press conference that Roland just read. They're using copy and paste, so they're getting double, I guess, their money's worth to read the same exact statement: do no harm, but not answering what does that actually look like. It's just abstract statements of we're not going to do any harm. But what is it going to do to the wastewater pollution, to the amount of water to cool hundreds of thousands of servers? This is going to be a 70,000 square foot facility. They said 30 megawatts to power hundreds of thousands of homes. This is not going to be some small little data center. This is going to be an industrial sized data center in the heart of a neighborhood, a black neighborhood, a historical black neighborhood that has already been victimized by so much. And so none of these things have been responded to. These are concerns that have been levied from the beginning by alumni who are like, hold on, wait. These are what we're seeing in other parts of the country. This is what we're seeing in other parts of the state. The zoo said we don't want this by the animals because of the harm it's going to do to them. But we're going to bring it here to a black neighborhood. And so that's been the biggest pushback, and we have had no answers. I really wish, and I'm saying this because I love Fisk. I'm speaking out because I love Fisk. I wish the president, Eugenia Clark, would just answer these questions because we want to be an ally. We want to be able to celebrate our HBCU. I love Fisk. I taught there. I was an alumni member, a lifetime member of the Alumni Association. But when you do things like this in secrecy and don't respond to very valid concerns of the community, it makes you question who is the corporate partner. If this is the firm they're going with for PR, then who's going to be the corporate partner to build this data AI center? It's not going to be a black, data or technology company, it's going to be some white company that sees our community as a community, to be extracted from and to be exploited in a sacrifice zone, and what they believe to call communities of least resistance. And that's why they're forcing this through North Nashville, because they think that the folks there won't fight back. Because if you try to build this in a white county, in Nashville right now, for those precise reasons you read out, white rural counties have passed moratoriums in Tullahoma,
right,
and all these rural white counties are passing moratoriums of 2 years to not have data centers. I wonder why that is, and yet we're saying that we want it at a HBCU.
Right. All right. Thanks,
Matt.
Yeah, so it's always inevitable that when Michael goes before me, he asks most of the question I'm going to ask. But Representative Jones, my question for you is, what do you think the political element is to this with regard to the council? I know the council is considering that 90-day moratorium, and I ask that because it looks like there would be some political pressure on them to not have this data center in the middle of Nashville. For context, I'm from Austin, which is kind of similar to Nashville in a lot of regards, and that big Tesla plant is out kind of outside of the center of town. I can't imagine the city council would allow it to be built, obviously, in the city. So is there any kind of political element to it that might stop the progress of this? And what is your insight in that regard?
Yeah, two things that are concerning that we heard, and actually this was brought by some alumni who are attorneys. They said that how this ordinance is being drafted now, Fisk, because it's starting its permitting process and starting the process, right now, may be grandfathered in. And so even if we extend some type of pause or some type of new restrictions, Fisk will have already started their project, and so they'll be grandfathered in and won't be, held accountable to those new standards. The second thing that we're concerned about is even if the council passes something that can be, brilliant and can really rein in these AI data centers, the pattern, and you see this in Texas, I'm sure, is that anytime the city council passes something like that, the state preempts and it intervenes and strikes down that ordinance at the city level. We saw this with Elon Musk building his Tesla tunnel in my district. The city council tried to respond. The state created a whole new board at the state level to say that any underground permits for underground tunnels have to go through the state. They don't even have to go through the regular city, county permitting process. And so what our concern is that these Republican-controlled legislatures are going to just preempt the city council, whatever ordinance is passed, and say, because they are aligned with Elon Musk. The state government is who supported XAI, who supported this Tesla tunnel that Elon Musk is building. They want these tech oligarchs to come to our city and go to our communities, and so that's what our concerns are politically. And again, the mayor has been silent about the data center at Fisk, and so we know that he is, he's going to be a partner of this going forward, and so we're going to have to face that pressure as well with the mayor, who claims to be, a liberal progressive, is okay with building this in a historic black neighborhood, but said he has concerns about the one at the zoo. I mean, people have been outraged. We've heard a lot of comments calling out the hypocrisy of that statement, but it seems like the economic and financial forces of our community are backing this project, both in City Hall, at the mayor's office, and economically within our spheres of business, of particularly white corporations here in our community.
So let me be clear. Avis, you did ask a question, correct?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure. All right, so let me be real clear here. Okay, I don't know anything about this Quantum Leap project. I don't. Only from what I've read. I don't support it. I don't oppose it. I don't know anything about it. These are simply questions that need to be asked. It should be asked. Representative Jones has stated his position. Students, you have this petition. I see the comments on social media. I just simply believe that if you're Fisk University and you say you want to be transparent, you want open dialogue, and you're extending invitations, I would think you would be willing to come and sit down on the only daily show that centers African Americans to talk about it. And to Finn Partners, let me be real clear, because y'all a white PR firm, y'all don't know anything about probably black-owned media. Let me be clear, there are 103 HBCUs. I've been to 58 or 59 of them. I have 5 honorary degrees from HBCUs. I've given more than 20 commencement speeches at HBCUs. So we're not new to what happens on HBCUs. These are legitimate questions, and I just simply have a series of questions that I think are important to ask. Right now in Virginia, you've got the Speaker of the House, Don Scott, who is supportive of economic incentives to data centers. And you've got, who's a brother, you've got a sister, Senator Louise Lucas in the Senate, who wants them to pay their fair share of taxes. They're opposite sides of the whole deal. So this is not a question of, oh my God, you're dead set against it. But you cannot expect people to say, trust us, do no harm, if you're unwilling to have an open and honest dialogue. So I'll say this, Dr. Clark, I'll say this, and also just do understand, I've already sent 2 text messages to 2 of your board members, and I'm about to send a 3rd one, because I know all 3 of them. And I'm saying, I would love for them to come on. And so if you walk people through this to explain, it's not enough to say, trust us, do no harm. And so I'll say your PR firm, Fisk, is not doing you any favors by not actually communicating. So I don't know how much you're paying them, but I'm telling you right now, the advice Finn Partners is giving y'all is whack. Okay? We don't send an invitation to you yesterday because we were going to do the show, do the story yesterday. Representative Jones couldn't do it. What you don't do, this is PR 101. You don't send a press release when I'm live having the conversation. What that tells me is you played around. So if you say you're going to be open and transparent, you're going to be honest, and you're going to be forthright, and you're extending invitations, and you want this open dialogue, well, then actually do it. I don't see exactly what the issue is. Representative Jones, keep us abreast of what happens. We'd love to hear if Fisk sends you one of those invitations and sits down with you to explain all of this. And yes, I'll say this, Fisk, I am more than willing to bring my show to the campus and moderate or simply broadcast a town hall where y'all talk with the students and the community about this proposed data center and all its implications. Let me know if y'all down with it. Representative Jones, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Folks, going to go to a break. We'll be back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. I'm here at the I Am a Man Plaza in Memphis. When in the second hour, I'm going to show you this particular plaza. I'll do the walking tour and then show you the remains of what was the historic Claiborne Temple, which was set on fire by an arsonist last year. Don't forget, support the work that we do. Your support allows for us to be able to travel around the country, do the things that we do, cover important stories, bring you the stories other folks are not talking about. If you want to do so, contribute to us via Cash App. Use a Stripe QR code. You see it right here on the screen. If you're listening, go to blackstarnetwork.com. You can use this QR code for credit cards as well. Checks and money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003-7-0196. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo, RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back. All right, folks, let me tell you about Chapter. Now, if you're in Medicare or about to be, the system is not set up to work for you. Too much fine print, too many plans, and too many people making money off of your confusion. And look, we're used to this. We're no strangers to systems that don't have our best interests at heart. But we don't have to accept it when it comes to Medicare. That's why I'm telling you about Chapter. Their advisors are independent and honest. In fact, they're the only Medicare advisors that compare every plan nationwide. And they're focused on one thing: what works for you. If there's a better plan out there, they'll find it. If you're already in the right one, they'll tell you that too. There are no games. Just last year, people who switched with Chapter saved an average of $1,100. It's 20 minutes and a real person. It's completely free. My parents actually have already called. My mom sent me a text. Folks, give Chapter a call at 724-264-8281, 724-264-8281, and connect with someone you can trust. Folks, these are the kind of services that we need for our audience here at Roland Martin Unfiltered and the Black Star Network. So call Chapter right now, 724-264-8281.
Hey, what's up? This is Marlon Wayans. No, it's not Keenan. No, or as some of y'all say, Clignon. No, it's not Damien. It's really, it's not Damien because I do not have a bald head. It's one of the Wayans. It's not Winans because they have been coming up to go, hey, how you doing? I love the Winans. There's no BB and no CC in this family. There's Kiki and Damon. So I am one of them Wayans brothers, or as you may want to call fraternity population. There's the Chinese, and then there's the Wayans. There's so many of us. 7 Wayanses was born during this drop. So you are watching my man Roland Martin, who really is swagged out. I want to give a big shout out to my man Roland Martin because he inspired the generation. He's the one that got Al Sharpton in the gym doing selfies. He got and Reverend Al was like, oh, I see Roland trying to look like he got a little two-pack. I'm going to get him one better. He's the one that got Al doing the one-handed almost push-up on the desk. So Roland Martin is the inspiration behind that. So be sure to tune in and watch.
Roland Martin, Unfiltered.
Lord, that boy crazy. That's the second longest drop we've ever had. Gary Owen has the longest. Wait till we show y'all that particular drop. All right, y'all. Black family was trying to have a reunion on June 7th, and of course, it took a crazy racist white man to screw the whole thing up. Like literally, y'all. Check this out. Roll a video. This actually happened. And it shows you just the insane stuff that black folk have to deal with. Police have charged Jeffrey Tyler Kinzer with aggravated assault after he unloaded an AR-15 style rifle at a black family reunion. Kashana Wilson posted this on TikTok. Now, witnesses told police that Kinzer drove by had involved in a verbal confrontation with people attending the event. He later returned on foot carrying his AR-style weapon and wearing body armor. Several people returned fire, hitting Kinzer, who was treated at a local hospital. He was arrested, but released the next day on a $5,000 bond. Matt, $5,000 bond?
Oh, man, I did not expect you to say that. Yeah, and this is, I don't know how any judge could issue a $5,000 bond on this. I was just thinking about it. I don't know Georgia law, but, you know, in my career, I have seen a lot of murder cases and, you know, capital murder, all that kind of stuff. I've never really seen an attempted murder case. I think this is most certainly an attempted murder case. And this is the kind of thing where the bond should be sky high because you don't even have him shooting at people, my understanding, with it being contemporaneous with whatever issue he had. He left, came back, and was in body armor, right? So usually body armor is an extra felony, another felony, especially if you're already a felon. But it shows premeditation. It shows the intent to go and do what he did. And I don't know how on earth a judge arrived at $5,000 on a bond on this. This is the kind of thing they should have held him with no bond or made his bond north of $1 million because this guy is shooting where he knows there's a very heavily populated area. There's clearly bedlam, people running away from the shots. And, you know, even if he gets out on bond or he is out on bond, I don't know what kind of defense he's going to mount when the trial comes because going to get body armor and coming back with an AR-15 is per se intention under any state's, intentional part of their murder or attempted murder statute. And I don't know how you defend this. This is very obviously that. And I think he's going to go to prison for a good long time. This is really abhorrent. And I don't know how this judge arrived at that bond.
I'm trying to understand, Avis, how you come back with an AR-15 style weapon, body armor, and you get charged with aggravated assault and not attempted murder. Like what? Like what the hell?
This is America. That's how. I mean, really, there's no other explanation for it. Imagine if the roles were reversed. Imagine if it was a group of white people, a large gathering of a white family that included men, women, and children. And the very same scenario happens, that a black man leaves, goes home, puts on body armor, comes back with an automatic weapon, and then just shoots for an extended period of time in the area where all of these people are. It would never happen that person would be out. But I mean, $5,000 is nothing. You only need to have 10%. That he would be out with $500. Okay, so it's absolutely nothing, and that shows you how little the Black lives are valued in this nation. Really quickly, I know this. Recently, with everything that happened with Carmela Anthony, I looked at a study that looked at, what happens with regards to self-defense cases across the racial dynamic. And I found one at the Urban Institute that said that a white person who is charged with that is claiming self-defense after killing a Black person is 10 times more likely to be able to get off with justifiable homicide. They're 10 times more likely to be let free as a result of that than a Black person who kills a white person in self-defense. We know that the statistics are hugely different in this country in terms of how how justice writ large deals with Black people. And that's the only way that I can explain how this person can go and do this, putting our families in danger, men, women, and children, and then be home potentially the very next day because the bond is so low. And I don't even feel very confident that he's going to spend a long time in prison. I really don't.
Michael?
Yeah, Roland, you asked how wasn't he charged with attempted murder? Why was the bond so low? Well, you're dealing with a former Confederate state, Georgia, okay? And for those that don't know, Georgia has the largest Confederate monument out of anywhere in the country. It's called Stone Mountain. So I was reading the story here. This is terrifying. Just seeing the video and hearing the screams of people as shots rang out. And before this guy came back with the body armor and the AR-15 rifle, one of the witnesses said he was yelling the N-word as well. Okay. But I am so glad that you have people who are armed and shot back. And we have a history of shooting back at white supremacists. And one of those greatest histories is the Robert Charles riots of 1900 in New Orleans. People go read that because we have to protect ourselves. This riot here, if you don't know, Robert Charles shot 27 white people, including 7 white police officers, before he was eventually killed. So when people say, we're not our ancestors, you don't understand our ancestors. Go read the book, This Nonviolent Stuff That Get You Killed, How Guns Made the Civil Rights Movement Possible, by Professor Charles E. Cobb Jr., and check out Roland's interview with Professor Charles E. Cobb Jr. as well. We don't understand our history.
Nope, we don't. So we'll see what is next in this particular case. Donald Trump's weaponization of the Department of Justice. It's amazing how they keep complaining about what Biden did. They raided the office of an organization today in Ohio, folks. It is the Ohio Organizing Collective, a civic organization that works to register voters and advocates for fair representation of Black voters. The Organizing Collaborative says its Cleveland office was searched by more than 100 FBI agents on Thursday. They collected laptops, questioned employees, showed up at the homes of multiple staff members. Board member Prentice Haney said agents asked them if they're committing voter fraud and used straight-up intimidation tactics. This is a statement released by Ohio Congressman Shontel Brown. Pull it up, please. She said, "I am alarmed and outraged by reports that the Trump and Kash Patel FBI has raided the Ohio Organizing Collective in Cleveland. My office has contacted the FBI demanding information. I am deeply concerned that this is an effort to use federal law enforcement to intimidate and halt voter registration and democracy. These raids must end immediately. Unfortunately, this appears to be part of a systematic effort by Trump and Kash Patel's FBI to attack our elections and perpetuate more myths of voter fraud, all to undermine and challenge any election result that Trump does not agree with. It's an attack on the people. Let me be very clear. Voter registration is not voter fraud. Urban communities voting is not voter fraud. Black Americans voting is not voter fraud. This appears to be a blatant effort to suppress and deny the vote of people in Northeast Ohio." House Democrat leader Hakeem Jeffries, his statement, voter registration is not voter fraud, and Donald Trump knows it. Americans should never have to fear intimidation for helping their neighbors participate in our democracy. This grotesque abuse by the Trump administration is just the latest MAGA power grab, an attempt to rig the midterm before the American people reject Republicans and their unpopular agenda. House Democrats will continue to forcefully push back and ensure that Donald Trump, Todd Blanche, and Kash Patel cannot interfere with the constitutional right to cast your vote in a free and fair election. Ohioans and Americans in every corner of the country we heard at the ballot box this November so we can end these abuses of power once and for all. We have reached out to the Ohio Organizing Collaborative, but have not gotten a response. All right, folks, earlier today, I spoke at Juneteenth celebration, the 33rd year of the Juneteenth celebration. And while there, State Representative Justin Pearson was in attendance. He had to go. But before he left, I did be able to catch him for this quick interview. Representative Pearson, so we're here at this annual Juneteenth dinner, 33rd year. So I spoke here last year.
You did.
Now, the folks who were in their feelings.
They were.
And what I'm trying to understand is, tell me what I said that was factually wrong. I think one of the things that many black elected officials, black preachers, black business folk, some may call talented 10th, black elite, folk don't want the truth. And the reality is what we need today are truth tellers when we talk about the condition of our community.
Absolutely. Nothing that you said was factually incorrect. The reason people's feelings got hurt is because they realized they were responsible, accountable, and in fact they were part of the status quo that made that a reality. It doesn't do us any good if we have black leadership, but we don't have policies that actually help to improve the quality of black people's lives. Because you know, like I know, when you do good for black people, you do good for everybody. But when white folks and white corporations are the ones who are funding black people's campaigns, what ultimately ends up happening, the policies benefit the current power structure. It doesn't do anything to change the power structure, to give us more agency, to give us more economic opportunity. So yeah, people got their feelings hurt because you know what? They are the ones responsible for the harm. They just look like us.
Well, in the years since, okay, National Guard comes in, LeBron James makes his comment. A lot of other NBA players said how of all the cities, Memphis is ranked in the top 3 or 4 they don't like going to. And to me, that's what folks should be looking at a mirror saying, okay, what then must be done to change that condition? And then now we have, of course, what the Republicans have done with gerrymandering as well. And so I hope black people now realize, again, that what I said was on point, and if there's any moment to flex our political power, it is now.
It's right now. They're taking our congressional districts now. I've got, instead of 1.5 counties, 15 counties. We are seeing what white supremacy is willing to do and all the lengths that is willing to go to. Now, LeBron and all them, it's like, one, y'all do need to come and experience our city because we got beloved, great, amazing people here. And simultaneously, we do got challenges, but they stem from poverty. And when the people in power do not seek to address poverty.
Economic apartheid.
Economic apartheid, it's a perfect word. When you don't seek to address that, but instead you want to make friends with the corporations. You want to make friends with the Republicans who don't care whether we live or die, but they're worried about the contracts that they get or that their friends get. We are going to continue to be in this situation right now, today. 25% of our children 25% of adults are in poverty. 50% of the kids are living underneath the poverty line. There is no way that you are going to have a functioning city, county, state, or society as long as that's the reality. And the people who are responsible for doing something, they're listening to the Chamber of Commerce. That's who's guiding them. They're listening to what the governor wants to do. And so you've had black political power for a number of decades, or black people in positions of power, I should say. But those numbers of poverty keep increasing. And people want to talk about crime and say how they're tinkering with it. Don't play around with the system. Do everything you can to change it. That's why you increase the minimum wage, expands access to health care, give folks universal health care. But those policies, they don't sound sexy, right? Those, you're not cutting the ribbon at those. And so they shy away from doing that really hard work and demanding that kind of investment. And so they capitulate when the National Guard comes, spends $200 million on hotels, but we can't get $200 million in the poor communities. It's like we're asking for the wrong things, and we're literally bending over backwards for white supremacists who are in power. There's no way we're going to progress as a people if we have leadership like that.
Have you seen, since what Republicans in the legislature did, are you seeing people in Memphis wake up and say, oh, wait a minute, hold up, this is an absolute attack on black people. This is an anti-black attack?
I think it is because it is so apparent, even people who don't want to see it. And we had a few thousand folks gathered last Sunday actually for a Souls to the Polls kickoff. And a lot of our pastors, a lot of preachers, a lot of elected officials were there, but that's a start, that's not an end. And part of what you articulate is, where's the accountability? Once we get in the job, who's holding us accountable? Because we've had a congressperson for the last 20 years. They say, oh, here's a couple of dollars and we be happy. That's not enough. How are you changing the systems that are setting us up in this way in the first place? And when we're mayor, when we're city councilors, when we're county commissioners, how are you going to change the systems that got us in this predicament? That's what we need to see.
Last question. You and others are fighting this Elon Musk AI here. Now all of a sudden you're seeing all around the country how people realize the negative impacts of data centers.
That's right. When it's happening to black folk and working class black folk, you should be in the fight. It shouldn't have to come to your zoo. It shouldn't have to come to your neighborhood before you start caring. But we've been building working class solidarity in Memphis, Mississippi, other parts around the country. And you know, my brother said this the other day. Just because it didn't necessarily benefit us the way we wanted it to, doesn't mean it didn't help other people who are in the fight. And now you got Republicans in rural areas all across the country who are like, no, we know what y'all did to Memphis, and we're not going. And so God uses us anyway, and that's the fight we're still in.
Hey. How you doing? Gotcha. Sorry. All right, kid. So, all right, well, keep up the fight.
Hey, we're keeping it up together.
I appreciate
you.
All right, thanks a bunch. All right. There we go. It's too funny. Homegirl trying to sit here. I'm trying to do the interview. She would roll up. She ain't paying no attention. She's like, listen, I need to serve these people so we can get this thing going. So great to see Representative Justin Pearson at today's event. Also, shout out to Dr. Talisa Franklin for putting this on. 33 years she's done this. She's also still running for state representative here in Tennessee. So good luck in your campaign. Y'all be sure to go out and vote early, July 17th. The election is on August 6th. Quick break. We come back. Man, some troubling news related to the African American Museum in Charleston, South Carolina. Staff going on furlough. We're going to tell you all about it next on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. All right, folks, let me tell you about Chapter. Now, if you're on Medicare or about to be, the system is not set up to work for you. Too much fine print, too many plans, and too many people making money off of your confusion. And look, we're used to this. We're no strangers to systems that don't have our best interests at heart. But we don't have to accept it when it comes to Medicare. That's why I'm telling you about Chapter. Their advisors are independent and honest. In fact, they're the only Medicare advisors that compare every plan nationwide. And they're focused on one thing: what works for you. If there's a better plan out there, they'll find it. If you're already in the right one, they'll tell you that too. There are no games. Just last year, people who switched with Chapter saved an average of $1,100. It's 20 minutes and a real person. It's completely free. My parents actually have already called. My mom sent me a text. Folks, give Chapter a call at 724-264-8281, 724-264-8281, and connect with someone you can trust. Folks, these are the kind of services that we need for our audience here at Roland Martin Unfiltered and the Black Star Network. So call Chapter right now, 724-264-8281.
Hello, everyone. It's Kiara Sheard.
Hey, I'm Taj.
I'm Coco.
And I'm Lily.
And we're SWV.
What's up, y'all? It's Ryan Destiny, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, I am here in Memphis at the I Am a Man Plaza, which was dedicated, of course, on April 5th, 2018, to 1,300 sanitation workers who started their strike in 1968. This city, of course, significant history. First black radio station here in Memphis. Of course, Lorraine Motel, which is now the National Civil Rights Museum, where Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was gunned down, where so many luminaries stayed at that hotel when they came through Memphis. That's where African Americans stayed. Our history is significant in this city. Of course, I was in Nashville just yesterday. That's 3 hours away. The Nashville movement began there. Fisk, Jubilee Singers. We can go on and on and on. And so the telling of our history is critically important. But it also means that these museums that we have that tell our story must also be able to stay open. So it was very difficult when we got the news that the International African American Museum in South Carolina is going to temporarily furlough its entire staff due to budget constraints. They're going to have 20-day furloughs. It will be implemented between July 1st and December 1st. It will be staggered in increments. The museum first opened June 27, 2023, and the news comes ahead of the museum's third anniversary. Dr. Tanya Matthews is the president and CEO of the International African American Museum. She joins us right now. Dr. Matthews, glad to have you here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. How did you get in this situation? What happened?
Well, good evening, Roland. And first, let me say I love the fact that you're standing in front of a sign that basically has the initials of the International African American Museum. I have been to the I Am a Man Plaza. It is one of my favorite places in the country. And so we are here in Charleston, South Carolina, and we are at another one of our sacred historical sites. And when you think about your question, so how are we here? What is going on? What led us to this critical and challenging decision? Well, we have been riding in the storm. This is not something that happened yesterday or the day before, but in this prolonged season, we have been navigating the waters of shifting funding trends, radical shifting funding trends. People have been talking about, of course, the different things that have been happening at the federal government level, but as some of your previous reporting has talked about, it's also trickling down to local levels for public funding, all politics, all funding, all those conversations often are local. And then we're watching entire sectors have to react, the corporate sector, the foundation sector. Everyone is pivoting and trying to figure out what you can say, what you can't say, who we can get behind, who we can't get behind right now. There has been a lot of shifting, and I got to tell you, it's in our name. It's the International African American Museum. We never intended to hide, but we couldn't even if we wanted to. And so part of what we're doing is making that clear, and we're keeping the mission going.
So let's unpack that. I gave a speech
Sure.
today for this Juneteenth speech here in Memphis, and I said to the audience there that due to these attacks on DEI, every black institution, nonprofits, have been impacted. There are some institutions, and I know some organizations that have lost 80% of their funding. I said that Trump's Federal Communications Commission, they literally, companies that they oversee, especially telecommunication companies, they literally are going through their entire list of things they donate, and they are targeting them if anything says black, if anything says women, if anything says gay, if anything says Latino, Asian American, Native American. The Black Women's Expo in Chicago, there were sponsors that said, we would love to sponsor you, but we can't. And they said, can you take black out your name? It's a little hard for y'all to take African American out your name when that's the basis of the museum.
Absolutely. And thank you for putting this inside this larger picture, right? Of course, my heart is here at I Am, but this is a national conversation. It is affecting institutions all over the country, in particular, institutions that have core values of inclusion. If you dare say that you are here for everyone, then you're challenged and you're having some of those conversations. But here is also where I lean into how we got here in the first place. It's not just how we got over, it's why we got over. Good thing is that we are descendants and descendant allies over at the International African American Museum. So even as we take these critical steps, even as our staff is willing to take on the burden of furloughing for 20 days between now and the end of the year, the museum will not lose a single day of operation. And we are going full forward with our Juneteenth celebrations. And I got to tell you, I'm hoping for record-breaking attendance because it's a Friday. Let's have a long, joyful weekend and understand that the roots of Jubilee celebrations actually come out of our struggles. We know how to live with the intersection of trauma and joy because we have always told the whole story.
Somebody watching or listening may be saying, well, wait a minute, you got the National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C. For folks who don't understand the difference, that is part of the Smithsonian. The museum that you lead there in Charleston, are you an independent museum, meaning you're not affiliated with the state government, with the city government, you are independently funded, correct?
We are an independent, nonprofit, 501c3 institution. And I think one of the things we want to think about is because we are telling the whole story. Yes, African American history. This is American history. We are a part of our community. We are not just a museum. We are an economic driver. We don't just host ourselves. We host visitors from all over the world. So do I think that we should get support from everywhere, from the federal government, from the state government, from the city government, from our companies and corporations, and definitely from individuals and members of our community? Absolutely. The tide is shifting, and so now we're having to lean into other places and other spaces. But I will also tell you that behind the scenes, just as you mentioned earlier, some folks are being very candid. Listen, we're trying. We are trying to figure this out. We are trying to stand with you and to get back to you. If you could just hold on a little while longer. All right, well, that works in music, okay? But that doesn't always work when we're trying to continue to activate the mission at the level that we have been activating it. And so we're leaning into our constituents, our individuals. We're leading into stories like this to let folks know this is a really good time to step up, become a member of I Am and of your local African American History Museum.
So I remember your founding director, founding CEO. We had him on my TV One show as they were trying to raise funds. The goal was $100 million, but of course with COVID and others, it increased by about $37 million. So the question is this, and I'm a firm believer in being very clear and telling our people in terms of what is needed. So first and foremost, what do you need? Again, assuming everything is standard, what do you need every month that funds the museum operationally per month? And then what is your? So that's the first question. Then what is your target goal? So, well, the second question is how many people have memberships to the museum, and what is the base level of the membership?
Yeah. Well, you know, Roland, it's a good thing that my early years was as an engineer and I took a lot of math because now you're getting real specific with the sister here. But I will tell you that as one of the largest African American history museums in the country, when we are punching at level and at weight where we like to be, we are investing more than $1 million every month in getting this story out and telling this story. We came out the gate with nearly 50,000 charter members, and our annual membership program has continued to go. And while these may sound like really, really big numbers, they're not numbers that we cannot achieve when we're thinking about collective activity, right? Ujamaa is not just for December, right? So we can step up and think about how to move this forward now. But I want also to remind folks the way that a lot of our museums and nonprofits work, right? Which is to make sure the doors stay open for everyone. We depend on donations so that we don't have to take all of that through the ticket prices, right? So we have our visitors, we have our donors, we need everyone that is there. And if you want our Black institutions to survive and thrive the way you see a lot of our sister institutions, we're also talking about the kinds of dollars and the kinds of support that help us build endowments, that help us build investment funds, that help us build emergency funds, rainy day funds, building deferred maintenance funds. All of those kinds of things go into building a sustainable institution that is as strong as the backbone of our ancestors that got us here in the first place.
So before I go to my panel with questions on that particular point there, what is your first of all, what does it cost for folks to attend the museum?
Sure. So for our members, if you are a member of the museum, one of the ways we thank you is that we invite you to come free of charge, right? You've already paid into the system. You're already part of the movement. So we want to thank you and let you get eyes on to what it is that you're looking at. That's our physical programming, physical exhibitions, but also our digital exhibitions and digital programming. It's why we actually have members from all over the country and just a few outside of the country. In addition to that, if you are coming and visiting in town, you can, of course, sign up for a membership right away. We do currently offer a discount for our South Carolina residents, helping them to continue to punch above their weight. And I see we're showing our membership page. I like to tell folks, listen, go to the member page, scroll down a little. You don't just have to take the very first level. You can think about pushing in the ways that you need to help us out. But also we have discounts for our elders, of course. We have group pricing. One of the things I'm actually really, really proud about is that this is our first summer becoming a Blue Star Museum. And being a Blue Star Museum means that we welcome all of our active duty military personnel and their families free for the entire summer. And those are the kinds of things that are really important to us. Free access for our service members, sponsored open admission on Juneteenth, being able to do these kinds of things and make zero barriers to actually learning these stories that are just as important to my neighbor as they are to me is part of who we are and what we do and why, as stewards of the history, we definitely need people's support to get these kinds of things done.
And the last question before I go to the panel, in terms of endowment, what are you setting as your target goal for the endowment?
So let me also acknowledge that I have a lot of folks to thank. You mentioned my predecessor earlier, and we have some of our founding donors and sponsors. So the museum, we are one of the few new museums that came out of the gate knowing that we wanted to have an endowment. And so we have begun building up those funds. If you really ask me what I would like one day, I would like an endowment upwards of $50 million, right? We think about what it is we want to support.
Too low. Too low.
Too low?
Too
Fine,
low.
I'm sorry.
Too low.
I left out a zero.
The number is 100.
Zero. Absolutely.
The bare minimum number is 100 million. And when I asked the question, I'm like, I know she's gonna tell me 100 million. That has to be, and the only reason I'm saying that has to be the target number.
Apologize.
If your cost is gonna be at $1 million a year, if the cost, right? I'm saying the cost could be $1 million a year. That's $12 million. You're talking about deferred costs, things along those lines. And again, I know what you're saying. You don't have to say it. I'll say it. When people say, "Can you hold on a little longer?" What they really are saying is, again, and let me be very clear. Let me be very clear. Y'all take the 2 shot off of Tanya. Put a single shot on me. Put the single shot on me. Put the single shot on me. Okay. So let me be real clear. What Roland Martin hears, what I just heard there was when he is not in the White House and there's a new administration that's a Democrat, then we can go back to be able to funding things that are interest to African Americans, And so when they say, please hold on, what they're saying is, can you hold on for 2.5 years so we see the change shift in this country if folk vote the right way? That's what I heard. But that way now you can put Tanya back on the screen. Questions from the panel. Matt, you first.
Love you, Roland. Love you.
Let me say first, I love the ram's horn earrings. It's not lost on me. I love the message that sends. But my question to you is this. How much do you need to not have to furlough even the 20 days? What is that concrete number so that there's a deliverable that people can work towards together?
That number between now and the end of the year would be $6.5 million. Right. And following Roland's lead, if y'all want to make a sister feel really comfortable and safe, because after December 31st comes January 1st, which means a new year comes out and we begin, we're looking at something closer to 10 million. So between $6.5 and $10 million, which is not as unreasonable as it sounds. I've seen our people do much, much more in much less time.
Avis.
Just thank you for the work that you do, making sure that our history is preserved and shared for us all. In terms of this specific crisis, and I'm also thinking long term, because even hopefully we'll get to a place that you have to last for 2 years under this ridiculousness that we have. And then we want to have you situated in a space where even at some point in the future when the political wings may go back, we want to make sure that you are safe and sound. So let's think about, I'm interested in how many people you typically have at that museum, and what would it take for you to be able to have the level of flow that you would need in order to build your revenue up such that these types of crises might not face you in the future?
Oh, thank you. That is a great question. So, and the reason it's such a good question is it does help us to emphasize. So at the 2.5 year mark, even before we were 3 years old, before we got into this year, at 2.5 years, we had hosted more than 500,000 visitors at the International African American Museum. We do have folks coming in here. I was downstairs the other day taking photo bombs with one of our family reunions that starts to come around this time of year. And so we do have our robust attendance. And frankly, I would fill the museum every single day that we need to. And we want to keep that attendance going. But the way we set our business model is to be sure that family reunions can attend, to be sure that groups, that anyone who wants to come can attend. So only a portion of the ticket price covers occupying and operating costs. It is roughly a 30-70% split. So I think the way I would flip that is, how many members do I need? Because members come in and members donate. They donate regularly. We've got some members now throwing in an extra $25 or so. But as I mentioned, we currently have just under 50,000 members. It would be around 125,000 members who renew their membership on time is what it would take for us to be able to have the flexibility and the room to grow and to invest. And as Roland said, to get our endowment up to $150 million. I'm sorry, I forgot the one at the beginning.
So you said that, so you have 50,000 members. So really what you want is you want 125,000 annual members at how much per month? So just even if it's
so our membership starts at $65, and then it goes all the way up to our Museum Circle members, which those who can.
You said 55? You said 50?
65.
You said 55 or 65? 65. Got it. Okay.
For an individual, and then we have family memberships, but it goes up. Now, for those who can, for those out there with careers, we have our Museum Circle that starts to kick in at $250, $500, and going up. And I think the other thing, though, that does is we get to communicate with our members, right? It's not just a one and done. It's not just a come to the museum and then wait around for your renewal. We are communicating with our members. We're having virtual programming with our members. When a situation like this happens and we need to throw the cap up, our members are the first to know. And so that's a really sustaining support in the way we think through that.
So if you have 125,000 annual members just averaging $65 each. It's $8.1 million. Your monthly expenses at $1 million. So that now means from your other fundraising efforts, that'll bring in about $4 million for you to be able to break even each month. And so that's why that number is important. Matt, I'm sorry,
You need
Avis.
the average to be a little higher, but yes.
No. I'm just going. I'm just using just a baseline. As a baseline because there are some people obviously who might decide to give more. Look, I get it. I mean, we've had more than 38,000 donors to this show since we launched, and so, but you know, our goal is to have 20,000 people contributing on average $50 each a year. That raises $1 million to offset the cost, and so that's why I'm sort of laying that number out. Avis, go ahead.
No, I just went. So.
I'm sorry. Michael.
All right, Dr. Matthews. So this is near and dear to my heart because I'm a member of Charles. I'm a member of the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History here, so I know it's hard.
Absolutely, yes.
I know it's hard to get Black people
Detroit.
to support. Yeah, it's hard to get Black people to support Black history. So, one, I'm glad to hear you're not closing, because I saw some misinformation on social media and people thought you were closing. So I'm glad you're not closing. One. Two, I was wondering, as we go into Juneteenth season and then followed by Black August, are you all offering any online classes so people watching this around the country can, pay for those online classes to help support you all? And then secondly, I know at the Charles H. Wright Museum, I know they have a summer camp for children. I was wondering if there's anything that you offer for children, maybe at a nominal cost, that parents don't know about that they can enroll their children in to help financially support you all as well.
Yeah, well, shout out to
actually, before you answer, one second before you answer that, I'll add an addendum to that, and that is, as opposed to, in addition to if not necessarily paying for online classes, do you have anything that's virtual, so if folks are already a member, that's a part of that membership? But go ahead.
Sure.
Absolutely. So shout out to my education and public history team. We have a phenomenal summer camp program. It runs for 4 weeks, and you can sign up for all 4 weeks. You can sign up on each week individually. It's a different theme, chefs, speakers, hands-on activities. They take the babies out into the woods, all kinds of good stuff. So yes, we definitely have the summer camps, and they begin right after our Juneteenth celebrations. For online programming and classes, that is a royal yes. The thing I will actually point out in one of the beloved parts of our institution is our Center for Family History, our Genealogy Center. So the Genealogy Center often does workshops online. We often do drop-in sessions online. We have a lot of our previous classes that exist on our YouTube channel, and we have just begun to offer the beginnings of fee-for-service. So if you have a specific genealogy question, you can log in, you can sign up for one of those. You can get as many people in the room behind that Zoom camera as you can, and we'll have a conversation about genealogy specific to you and your family. We also have digital exhibitions that are currently online. The latest is on Black Cowboys. If folks want to head to our website and I know, right? If folks want to head to the website and check that out. So absolutely, we keep it moving, and it's just really important because you never know what part of our history will resonate with someone that will get them to move to action, to visit the museum, to become a member, to read an extra book.
Right. So Dr. Matthews, you talk about Bass Reeves. Yes. Who believed the Lone Ranger was based upon? Bass Reeves, the legendary lawman.
Listen, I am halfway through my season right now, sir. I am halfway through watching this season. Halfway. Don't make me mix up my Netflix facts with my actual African American History Museum facts. But yes, we talk about those. And one of the things that we also pride ourselves doing is we like to also unearth new stories. And it's why you need more than one museum. It's why you need more than one documentary, because we have more than one story. And so we often try to fill in those gaps.
Okay, excellent.
All right, then. So what is the website for folks to go to?
Mm-hmm. The website is www.iaamuseum.org.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
all right then. Well, Look, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the information. And so it is certainly vital that we support our Black museums. Folks have to understand it speaks to our history. And so all of that absolutely matters. And so thank you so very much.
Thank you, Roland.
All right. Let me thank our panel for being with us. That's at the end of our show. But let me thank Matt. Let me thank Avis as well as Michael for being on today's show. I certainly appreciate it. Y'all enjoy the weekend. Folks, time for Black Star Network headlines.
Former Essence CEO Caroline Wenga is suing Essence Ventures and its parent company, Sundial Media and Technology Group, for defamation over backlash from the 2025 festival. Wenga claims that Essence Ventures and Sundial failed to publicly clarify that she had no role in planning or running last year's Essence Festival of Culture in New Orleans. She had been on leave from her position as CEO since September of 2024. She officially left the role on March 31st of 2025, meaning she was not affiliated with the company during the July festival. The leaders of Essence and Sundial did not announce Wenga's departure until August of 25th of 2025, nearly 2 months after the festival. Wenga's lawsuit asserts that the announcement did not adequately state that she did not influence decisions related to the festival. She claims that her reputation has been harmed and that her company, Wenga Woman, has suffered economically due to public perception of her involvement with the festival. Wenga is asking the courts to hold the leaders of Essence Ventures and Sundial accountable for allowing a false public narrative to damage her reputation. And the Supreme Court blocks Alabama from proceeding with an execution using nitrogen gas. Thursday's decision upholds lower court rulings that found the state's protocol likely violates the Eighth Amendment's ban on cruel and unusual punishment. Federal courts previously intervened in the case of Black Death Row inmate 49-year-old Jeffrey Lee, who was scheduled for execution on Thursday for a 1998 double murder. His attorney successfully argued that the state's nitrogen gas method subjects inmates to painful suffocation and air hunger. On Wednesday, U.S. District Judge Emily Marks permanently prohibited Alabama from using nitrogen gas on Lee, saying the method is unconstitutional, and said Lee's option for a firing squad was a more feasible and less painful alternative. Lee is being held at the Holman Correctional Facility in Atmore for his conviction of 2 counts of capital murder for killing Jimmy Ellis and Elaine Thompson while robbing a pawn shop on December 12, 1998. The man accused of carrying out a deadly attack targeting 2 Minnesota lawmakers and their families pleads guilty to multiple federal charges, including stalking, murder through the use of a firearm, and firearm-related offenses. Under the plea agreement, he faces life in prison. Prosecutors say they will not seek the death penalty. 58-year-old Vance Luther Bolter confessed to stalking and murdering former Minnesota House Speaker Amaretta Melissa Hortman and her husband, Mark Hortman, in June of 2025. Bolter also pleaded guilty to stalking and shooting Minnesota State Senator John Hoffman and his wife, Yvette. Prosecutors say the couple's daughter was also targeted during that attack. Judge John R. Turnham says that he will schedule a formal sentencing hearing later this summer where the victims will be allowed to speak. A Black Jacksonville, Florida woman is facing serious consequences after allegedly running over 11 ducklings with her car because they made a mess in her yard. 64-year-old Beverly Sasberry pleaded not guilty to 11 counts of aggravated animal cruelty and a reckless driving charge. Investigators allege that she admitted to witnesses that she intentionally killed the ducklings. Authorities say witnesses saw Beverly on April 25th turn her vehicle around multiple times and then run over the animals. If convicted, Beverly could be facing up to 55 years in prison and placed on Florida's animal cruelty registry. Social media is now in an uproar about whether Beverly should be facing 55 years or if that's too excessive. A federal judge has extended a court order blocking the Trump administration's proposed $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund. This fund was intended to compensate individuals who claim that they were victims of a weaponized government. Earlier this month, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche informed Congress that the administration was abandoning plans for the fund. However, attorneys challenging the proposal argued that these assurances were insufficient because the administration has not formally canceled the fund, and Trump has continued to support it publicly. U.S. District Judge Liani Burkima agreed with the challengers, ordering that the fund remain blocked while the case proceeds. The judge also gave the administration 1 week to submit sworn declarations confirming that the fund will not be revived.
Folks, be sure to catch the breakdown, Brittany Noble, every day, noon Eastern, right here on the Black Star Network. The breakdown, Brittany Noble, every day, noon Eastern on the Black Star Network. All right, folks, again, as I said, I'm here in Memphis at the I Am a Man Plaza. This was unveiled April 5th, 2018, when we were here for the 50th anniversary commemoration of the assassination of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And so a little bit earlier, I was, of course, walking around here. So let's give you a sense of what this plaza looks like, as well as next door what happened to Claiborne Temple, which was set on fire by an arsonist 1 year ago, April 28th, 2025. All right, folks, so we are here in Memphis, and where I am right now is I'm at the I Am a Man Plaza here in Memphis, which is across from Claiborne Temple. And it's amazing to be here, to also sad to be here because of the fire, the destruction that took place to Claiborne Temple just a couple of years ago. I'm going to show you that in a second, but I want to show you this plaza here, folks. And so we were here in April of 2018 when this plaza was dedicated. That took place for the 50th anniversary commemoration of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And so what you'll see here, and again, we were here, I remember taking a picture in front of this with Reverend Jim Lawson. And so this is the monument itself. And so as you see here, you see where it says, you're men, you deserve dignity. This is a quote from Reverend James Lawson. And it says, for at the heart of racism is the idea that man is not a man, that person is not a person. You are human beings. You are men. You deserve dignity. Again, Reverend James Lawson, he, of course, was the pastor who invited Dr. King here to Memphis. And this here is the actual wall that named all of the sanitation workers. There were 1,100 brothers who were involved in that strike in 1968. And so you see all of the different items here. I'm gonna show you the names in a second. This was the item here, the story here. And so as you see, it tells you to please stand here. So if I stand here, and you see right here, it has interactive. So you have a QR code right here where you can actually experience this. So you see it says, hold your phone vertically throughout the entire experience. Scan the QR code below, click open, stand in the designated spot next to this sign. At the welcome screen, hit enter. It prompted select allow for the experience to access your camera motion orientation. So it gives you all the directions here. An interactive augmented reality experience of this strike. And so when you come over here, what you're going to see is you're going to see all of the names here of the men who participated in this sanitation strike. If you know your history, the strike started when 2 workers were killed. There was a storm. They could not seek shelter on the inside, and they went into the back of a dump truck to shield themselves from the rain, and they actually were killed. Again, we had the coverage during that time, and we actually covered the event where we actually met the son of one of the men who were killed who was killed in that accident, and that was what spurred the whole event. That's when everything took place, and so it was a significant moment, significant moment in not only Memphis history, but American history, because it was that work that brought Dr. King here to Memphis. And of course, this is where he was assassinated on April 4th, 1968. Now, also on the ground here, what you'll see is they actually have all of the stuff that begins. So you see right here, these were the two workers right here. Echo Cole and Robert Walker were crushed to death on the back of a garbage compactor seeking shelter from the rain. It took place Thursday, February 1st. So they have a timeline here. And so you see right here, says Sunday, February 11th, at Memphis Labor Temple, more than 700 black men hold a union meeting in which they pour out their grief in song and preaching. They deliberate on specific labor concerns, including wages, safety issues, and fear of being fired for belonging to the union. Although they leave the meeting without an organized plan, the men are motivated by passion and determination to action. Well, that was February 11th. February 12th, 1,300 Department of Public Works employees refuse to report to work until the city pays them decent wages, recognize their union, and address discriminatory policies. Well, the next day, 800 sanitation workers marched for the first time. So you see that. Then, of course, February 21st, 8 days later, sanitation workers established a daily routine of marches from Claiborne Temple through downtown. Community activists and local organizations lend their support. The Memphis chapter of the NAACP stages an all-night vigil in picketing at City Hall and calls for a citywide boycott of downtown merchants. And so then you go here, Thursday, February 22nd, Councilman Fred Davis urges the city to recognize a union. More than 1,000 strikers and supporters packed the council chambers for a raucous meeting that adjourns without action. Then, of course, you have February 23rd, and this union was part of AFSCME, the American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees. It says Friday, February 23rd, 12 days after the strike began, tension erupts into violence near Goldsmith's department store. Police spray the faces of the marchers, including ministers, with mace. From this day forward, thousands of black Memphians participated in the daily marches and boycotted downtown stores. So then you go here, Saturday, February 24th, black Memphians have formed citywide organizations to support the strike and the boycott. The Concerned Citizens for Sanitation Department workers and families provide strikers' families with financial assistance, food, and clothing. The city obtains a court injunction to prevent the union from organizing demonstrations or picketing. So now you go Tuesday, February 27th. Mayor Henry Loeb defaults on a compromise to end the strike when hundreds demonstrate at City Hall. 23 union members are cited for contempt of court. Then, of course, 2 days later, Mayor Loeb sends each of the sanitation strikers a letter inviting them back to work without union recognition. The union filed suit in federal court. That was Thursday, February 29th. And then, of course, March 1st, when the window of Loeb's homes are broken, he blames the strikers. The federal judge rejects the union suit. Reverend James Lawson and local community activists invite national leaders to put pressure on city government. So it was March 6th, sanitation workers staged a mock funeral at City Hall lamenting the death of freedom in Memphis. And so this monument here, that's when it begins to pick up with the names. And so it says Friday, March 8th, trash fires in South Memphis are blamed on supporters of the strike. Then you go to Saturday, March 9th. Mayor Loeb directs the National Guard to hold riot drills. And so that's on March 9th. And then, of course, March 11th, Monday, March 11th, Memphis City school students leave school to participate in a march organized by black ministers. 2 students are arrested. That's for all the people who say young folks, athletes, and others should not be involved in protests. Know your history. Thursday, March 14th, National NAACP leader Roy Wilkins arrives in Memphis and professes his support for the strike in front of a crowd of more than 10,000 people. Then you go to Monday, March 18th. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. speaks before an overflow crowd at Mason Temple. Although previously involved in planning the Poor People's Campaign, King felt he could not say no to the sanitation workers whose struggle was at the heart of his belief in economic justice. And it was Reverend James Lawson. He was the one who actually called Dr. King to come to Memphis. And Dr. King's aides told him, listen, we got other things we got to do. We don't have time for Memphis. He said, no, I got to go and stay staying with those sanitation workers. Thursday, March 28th, as promised, Dr. King returns to lead the march, which started at Claiborne Temple. As the march advanced down historic Beale Street, some youth created a disturbance by breaking windows. The police shoot tear gas into Claiborne Temple Church and assault the marchers with tear gas, mace, nightsticks, and gunfire. 16-year-old Larry Payne is shot to death. The Tennessee Guard Assembly authorizes a 7 p.m. curfew. 4,000 National Guardsmen make their presence felt in the city. And so now we go to Friday, March 29th, where it says 300 sanitation workers and ministers conduct a silent march from Claiborne Temple to City Hall, attended by armored jeeps, military trucks, and guardsmen with fixed bayonets. President Johnson and the AFL-CIO President George Meany offer to mediate. All right, so now we go to Tuesday, April 2nd. Hundreds of black Memphians attend the funeral for Larry Payne. The National Guard are withdrawn from the city. Then, of course, Wednesday, April 3rd, Dr. King returns to Memphis. Thousands brave a thunderstorm to hear him speak at Mason Temple. He stirs the congregation with his prophecy about having been to the mountaintop where he looked out over the promised land. It will become one of the most memorable speeches in American history. Then, of course, on Thursday, April 4th, Dr. King assassinated on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel. His death aggravates the sanitation strike. Mayor Loeb rejects the urging local leaders and federal officials to make concessions. Outbreaks of violence begin in cities like Washington, D.C. Monday, April 8th, 42,000 people participate in a silent memorial march through downtown led by Mrs. Coretta Scott King, SCLC, and other national figures. And then on Tuesday, April 16th, ASME leaders announced that an agreement has been reached to end the strike, and the sanitation workers vote to accept it. The settlement includes wage increases in recognition of the union. The strike officially ends. So that took place Tuesday, April 16th, 1968. Well, folks, unfortunately, April 28th, 2025, last year, this happened. Claiborne Temple, according to the ATF and officials, was purposely set on fire. This was arson. This historic church where all of these different protests and marches were planned, somebody decided to actually set this on fire. You can see the extensive damage. Essentially, the church was destroyed. Now, just so you can put in perspective, we are here in Memphis. This is essentially downtown, but this, of course, is the arena, FedEx Forum, where the Memphis Grizzlies play. Just so you understand where we are. And so you see right here, you see just the damage. The church was totally destroyed. Only thing really left standing is this portion of the church. And you see right here, you see the sign right there. This building, designed by architects Long and Keys with E.C. Jones supervising, was dedicated to the worship of God on January 1st, 1893. It was the second home of Second Presbyterian Church, organized December 28th, 1844, until sold to the AME Church in 1949, and then renamed Claiborne Temple. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. often spoke here. Many civil rights activists were held, activities were held here in the 1960s. And so, again, you see just what this arsonist did to this historic structure. I'm gonna walk over here. So, more than likely, I never actually been inside of this church, so I can't tell you what it was like. But clearly, you likely had stained glass windows, all of that just destroyed. You name it, you see all of this debris. They still have an award out. There was a person of interest, but nobody has been arrested for the destruction of this historic church here in Memphis. Absolutely sad. But this is the crap that you still deal with. Claiborne Temple just completely destroyed as a result of this fire 1 year ago, April 28th, 2025. These are quotes from different individuals, sanitation workers, quotes from Dr. King's mountaintop speech at Mason Temple, April 3rd, 68. So there you go. So folks, if you come to Memphis, people go to the National Civil Rights Museum, formerly the Lorraine Motel. Hugely important, but obviously since April 5th, 2018, have this here. So you come here, make an effort to come by the I Am a Man Plaza, and you see the sign right here. They have this over here on the wall, building for future, honoring our history. You see I'm a Man, historic Claiborne Temple. You hear they have a QR code to learn more about Claiborne Temple. So if you're interested, certainly click that QR code. But if you come to Memphis, definitely come on by this plaza that pays homage to those 1,300 sanitation workers. Those were some brave brothers who fought a serious fight for respect and dignity. And we're gonna also restream for you the conversation I had with labor organizer Bill Lucy. And Bill Lucy talked about how this slogan came about. He, of course, was sent here from D.C., so it was a fantastic conversation we had in the National Civil Rights Museum that was done in 2018. Of course, sadly, Bill Lucy became an ancestor last year. So there you go, folks. Just want to give you all a sense of this plaza, the I Am a Man Plaza here in Memphis, Tennessee. All right, folks, and so it was great to be here. The brother who just walked up here, he actually was a part of the team that designed this plaza, and so I haven't been here since 2018, and so I certainly, you got to have upkeep and things along those lines, and so this is something that we should be visiting. But let me also say this here. So, when LeBron James criticized Memphis and other NBA players criticized Memphis, I just want to give y'all an understanding. And, this is one of those things that, and this goes out to every NBA team that comes here. And obviously, I want other folk who come here to see this here. So let me do something right here. I just want y'all to understand. Y'all saw in the video there, I showed you some of this, exactly where we are. So let me just show you this right here. So we are sitting here at the I Am a Man Plaza, okay? If I turn this camera around, you'll see right here, this is Claiborne Temple. What you see right here, you see it right there, FedEx Forum. You see FedEx Forum. Now, if I zoom this camera in, and so give me 1 second, I'm gonna move this over here. If I zoom this camera in, and I'm just gonna sit here, do a fast zoom. So when you see that building, give me 1 second. You see this building right behind that pole, okay? Right, that building right there, let's say right behind the pole. Y'all, that's the Westin Hotel. So when these players come here, I really wonder how many these NBA players who come to Memphis and play stop by this I Am a Man Plaza to experience this history. Y'all, it's only 2 blocks away. And so the location of this is literally just 2 blocks away. And so I would hope that when these NBA players, when they come to Memphis and they come here to play the Grizzlies, I would hope they would be encouraged to get out of the hotel after they have had their practice and run through and stuff along those lines. If they're complaining about there's nothing to do in Memphis, well, then I disagree. I would hope those players actually do more than just complain about nothing to do here in Memphis. I would hope they actually would take the time and come to here and read this story, participate in that virtual tour, read the names of those sanitation workers. When you go to Washington, D.C., they have that Vietnam War Memorial and how they have the names. This was sort of done in a very similar way. I would hope they would do that. I hope they would come. I would hope they would go to the National Civil Rights Museum. I would hope they would go to the other places. In fact, a sister just came up to me, and they've had some issues there. I'd never even heard of this. She told me that they had a slave haven underground railroad museum that's in downtown that was actually a part of the Underground Railroad. It's been closed for a couple of years. There was some drama going on. She was telling me about. She's going to send more information. But I'm saying all of that. So to those NBA players, you're going to complain about Memphis because it doesn't have these entertainment options that you want or desire. Well, use the opportunity to experience the Black history that's happening here. That's the charge that I have for you. Folks, that's it. I'm going to be in Dallas tomorrow at Antioch Baptist Church, 3 to 4:30 p.m. With Los Angeles Lakers great Norm Nixon for a panel at Antioch. I look forward, if you're in Dallas, I'd love to see you at Antioch Baptist Church tomorrow in Dallas from 3 to 4:30. If you missed my Juneteenth speech with Dr. Talisa Franklin's Juneteenth celebration, we're going to be restreaming it this weekend, so we'll have that for you as well. Folks, that is it. Be sure to support the work that we do here at Roland Martin Unfiltered and the Black Star Network. Your support is critically important. We just talked about Black museums. We talked about all these different things. Y'all, we've got to fund our own stuff because clearly they're not supporting our initiatives. And so your support of Roland Martin Unfiltered is critically important. So if you want to contribute via Cash App, use a Stripe QR code. You see it right here on the screen. If you're listening, go to blackstarnetwork.com. Use that for credit cards as well. Checks and money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Of course, PayPal, R. Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Of course, if you want to get our app, the Black Star Network app, go to Roland Martin, go to Android phone, Apple phone, Android TV, Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Samsung as well. Folks, if you want to get our Black Star Network swag, go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Shopblackstarnetwork.com. If you want to support the Black-owned businesses on our site, you can go there as well. Of course, right there at shopblackstarnetwork.com, and more than 50 Black-owned businesses, and you can see right there on our website. So we support them as well. You want to get the app Fanbase downloaded as well. Follow me at Roland S. Martin on Fanbase. Folks, we always recognize all of our folks who give every single Friday, and just want to give you right here, y'all, a tight shot of this monument. And you see the inscriptions the inscription from Dr. King's speech at Mason Temple on April 3rd, 1968, and the other quotations as well. And so this here is the I Am a Man Plaza in Memphis, Tennessee. Glad to have all of y'all watching. I'll see y'all tomorrow from Dallas, Texas, right here. Roland Martin Unfiltered, right here on the Black Star Network. Holla!